So, one of the challenges that comes along with giftedness, with being a gifted person, someone with advanced abilities in one or more areas, we are often already highly intellectual, which in itself is a gift. But we need to learn to train and condition ourselves in how to use this safely and compassionately with ourselves. So, part of the nature of being cognitively advanced is having a refined agility for judgment, which again, this is a critical skill and it's not intrinsically bad or wrong or negative. Judgment, the accurate use of judgment, is literally what can enable the growth of any kind of intelligence at all. But we need to make sure that we're not using this in a destructive way against ourselves. So we don't want to leave ourselves in some position of deficit where we're only receiving positive validations from the outside, from others or our job title, or from the social networks that we get from our neighborhood or college, all of which are externalities. They can vanish because of any number of accidents in an instant. So we have to learn to positively self-validate. And this is what I've been talking about in my recent videos. And it means releasing also negative judgments from ourselves, which again, these are often rooted in some perceived lack in relation to an outside, or an imagined situation. So some of this thinking for gifted individuals specifically comes along the lines of things like, well, I don't really know if I would consider myself gifted. I don't really know if I fit with that. Or, like, what will my supervisor think if I say or do this? Or because of my job role, I'm not really supposed to say these things or like these things. Or even like, well, I'm not really good at XYZ. Meanwhile, I'm doing it every night. And so a lot of this is internalized social judgments. There's a heck of a lot of social conditioning. I get it. But this is where we need to learn how to step in so we can learn to positively reprogram and self validate ourselves in spite of that, in lieu of that. And this is one of the core things that I want to be focusing on next in my study group. So I am inviting you if you resonate with this, you want to work in this area, this is for you. But there's also another issue at play here, which I've been seeing recently, and that has to do with a lot of our internal resistance to the label of giftedness. And, we don't want to think of ourselves or maybe we're just still not ready to like step into the full responsibility that this ultimately bestows on us. So instead, we kind of don a false modesty. So maybe we think that the concept of being gifted is awkward, like it sounds weird, or it sounds exclusionary, or maybe it even sounds too individualist for some people, or like heaven forbid, someone thinks of this as like a legacy artifact from the Enlightenment period, or like a romanticization of the individual. All of that is wrong. Giftedness preceded all of this type of social conditioning, which is still what each of these paradigms are. So it's central to human development, both individually and collectively. And everyone comes in here born with some kinds of gifts. And the question at that point is, what are we remembering? What are we recognizing? What is being nurtured? How much support do we actually have in in the caregiving structures that we're born into, as well as like what kinds of karmic choices the individual herself is making. And so many people end up like keeping their gifts hidden. Either they're doing it unconsciously or they're doing it semi-consciously because they're trying to actually like protect what they know is a very valuable part of themselves. And so you'll hear talk about the golden shadow and the ways in which we end up projecting these qualities onto other people, where it's easier or safer to recognize and celebrate it when it's in other people. But we feel threatened to celebrate it on our own, like what we already experience innately, maybe because we are trying to protect those aspects of ourselves. And so my point here is that more of us gifted individuals need to come together, and we need to understand ourselves as actually in possession of specific gifts. They have names, and it's okay to name them and to speak this. It doesn't mean that we think we're superior. It doesn't mean that we are, or some of us are more superior. It is not about a hierarchy. It's literally a responsibility that has been bestowed upon us. And so, in fact, like, acknowledging them is the only way that they can really be cultivated and brought into our awareness and then actually used to help others rather than being like places of projection or otherwise. And so if we don't bring consciousness into this area, our strengths remain unowned, and we will either lose them straight up to the matrix, or because of trauma, because of self-abandonment, and this can create mental health issues. Or if we are aware of them, but we're still not fully stepping into our power and responsibility, we will just use these gifts to help reproduce the matrix, to reproduce the status quo and all current trajectories. So this is real. It's not just a metaphor. Like, the matrix is very happy to go on existing exactly as it is. So it's ultimately a form of self-abandonment to not really like claim and step into our power and own these gifts. And in doing that, we are neglecting our own power, which is a form of abuse of power. If you can like make that jump, that's really big. Our power matters just as much as anyone's power. Our empowerment matters just as much as anyone's empowerment. And this is a key piece of it. If you are a gifted individual, and we all do come in with certain gifts. So using our gifts is also fundamental to our mental health and our thriving. It's who we are, and we need to actually develop and actualize our potential, and this is part of it. So I hope this makes sense, and that this message is like getting through to the few individuals who like really need to hear this right now. It's okay to acknowledge our giftedness, and it's socially responsible to do so if you need that framework to help justify this for yourself. And it's necessary for our own mental health and personal development. And so I am here to support all of you, any age, whatever, if you've been identified as gifted already, or if you just listen to this and you've known and you feel that this is you. Like, it's a pseudo secret. Like, we can recognize each other just in the same way that people with autism feel that they can recognize each other, and there are certain signs, and intuitively, like, I definitely know when I can recognize this in others. So if you want to explore this further, or if you just feel like unclear about like how you can develop your own gifts, in the sense of like, how can you move forward and apply yourself in a way that honors your gifts and interests and abilities, please get in touch with me. This is who I'm here to help. Like, I feel very called to this. I think there's a group of about like 10 or 12 people very specifically who I can help here. So watch my previous videos. I've already written a lot on this too, on Medium and Substack. So I'll put all of these links in the comments. And yeah, please let me know if I can help you in any way. Drop a comment here. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. I will definitely be talking more about this. And yeah, I hope this has made sense, and I hope to meet you soon. Okay, thanks for watching.